NBC station captured video of a person driving a car, you see it there, into a crowd of protesters, hitting at least one person. Police have not released any information about the driver in that incident.
A lot of the focus remains on Los Angeles, where anger continues to mount over sweeping immigration raids in the city. For the first time since the protests in the city began on Friday, LA's mayor imposed a curfew in 1 square mile of downtown LA. Separately, 4 men now face federal charges for alleged violence during those protests. 2 of them are accused of throwing Molotov cocktails at or near law enforcement. They're expected in court in the coming days. For President Trump's part, he's standing by his call to send in National Guard troops and mobilize Marines to Los Angeles. He says sending the military to other cities is not off the table if he determines protests are getting out of hand.
Leading us off this hour, NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky in Los Angeles for us. Also with us, NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez. Morgan, I'll go to you first. We know that there's another protest scheduled for this evening there in LA. I know things have quieted down typically during the day. What do we expect?
Yeah, Kate, every day has definitely been a different story here. We've seen law enforcement increase day by day since the weekend, where those dramatic scenes had the entire nation watching. Last night, we saw a significant presence of law enforcement in and around that federal complex. We are on the backside of that federal detention center. That's where some of these members of the California National Guard, they protect. And that's exactly what we saw last night when there was a gathering of people on the front side of one of the federal buildings. As for what happens tonight, that remains to be seen. We do know, at least as of right now, Kate, that curfew that was announced by Mayor Karen Bass remains in effect 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. That 1 square mile covered in downtown, including the federal building, including an area near City Hall where we saw a real concentration of chaos over the weekend. They're trying to cut down on that vandalism and violence. And speaking of, Kate, we can report that within the last 24 hours, the numbers come out have more than 200 arrests for failure to disperse, 17 people arrested for violating that curfew. So all eyes go to tonight to see what, if any, demonstration will be taking place in and around these streets of downtown LA. Kate?
Morning, thank you, Gabe. Let's bring you in here and talk about the immigration operations themselves, because that's really what sparked all of this. Are we expecting new operations in other cities soon?
Yes, Zane, Clay, and Kate, the White House very clear that what's going on in L.A., that the protests will not deter the administration from carrying out these deportations, not just in Los Angeles, but really across the country. And 2 sources familiar with the planning tell NBC News that ICE is preparing to deploy special response teams, essentially tactical units, to several cities led by Democrats. Now, cities include Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, and as well as Northern Virginia, which is basically the Washington, D.C. area. And we understand those special response teams, they use what's known as those Bearcat tracking vehicles, essentially, that are able to conduct these types of operations. Now, critics say they're militarizing this deportation program, but again, the White House feels that this was something that they were elected to do. A new poll out this week from CBS News shows that the majority of Americans approve, 54% approve of the administration's mass deportation plan. So again, the White House stressing that what's happening in LA won't deter them at all, Kate and St. Clair.
Gabe, thanks. Morgan, what more have we learned today about the role that the military might have in Los Angeles when it comes to these protests?
Yeah, Kate, it's definitely been a bit of a process. We heard that announcement that Marines were mobilized, and then they moved over to Camp Pendleton from 29 Palms. That's about 2 hours from us here in Los Angeles. As it stands right now, the Marines will be helping ICE agents, whether it be transport, whether it be protection. The Marines themselves putting out a statement within the last several hours or so, Kate, saying that the Marines that will be on the streets of Los Angeles will not have bullets in their guns, strictly being used in a protective measure for the ICE agents to continue conducting their mission here in the Los Angeles metropolitan area. As for the members of the National Guard, they've primarily been used, as we've seen since they arrived, to protect property such as this federal detention center, such as the federal building where they were lined in front of the entrance last night. Of course, we have yet to personally lay eyes on the Marines here in LA, but we are told they should be arriving at some point later today. Kate.
All right, Morgan Chesky and Gabe Gutierrez, thank you both.
We are following breaking news.